Hello, Algebra 1 students. Here is a quick little video reviewing the terms that we talked about yesterday in class that I wanted to make sure that you could watch again to really understand. In Algebra 1, we mostly deal with two types of mathematical structures. We deal with expressions and we deal with equations. And here is an example of both. And I hope that you notice that the biggest difference between the two is that an equation has an equal sign. All right? So that brings us to what can you do with each of these structures. So with an expression, you can only simplify them, okay? So you cannot solve an expression. There is nothing to solve. You can only simplify. And what does it mean to simplify? Well, it means you perform order of operations. That means you do grouping symbols, multiplication and division, and addition and subtraction in the order they're supposed to go until you don't have any more operations that you can do. And then you have to leave the expression alone. It is in simplest form. For example, 5x plus 10 is in simplest form. There's nothing to combine. We can't multiply anything here. We can't divide anything. We can't add or subtract anything. All righty? An equation, on the other hand, can be solved. So what does that mean to solve an equation? It means isolate the variable. And what isolate means is to get the variable all by itself on one side of the equation. And so how do we do that? We use our properties of equality, okay? We add, we subtract, we multiply, and we divide until we have our variable alone and we have a number on the other side. So now let's move on. Let's drill down a little further. So we started up here with expressions and equations, and then we talked about what you can do with each. That's the green. Now we're going to drill down into what are the parts of expressions and equations, okay? So the largest part of an expression or an equation is a term. And you can see that I've drawn boxes around each term. Note that the addition or subtraction sign in between two terms, the sign directly to the left of a number goes with that number. Okay, so a term are numbers, they are variables, and they're combinations of both. Alrighty, and they are separated by addition and subtraction signs. All right, so let's drill down a little further and talk about the types of terms that make up expressions and equations. So we have a constant, like this number 10. A constant is a term that is just a number. A variable, here's a variable right there. There's x. A variable term is a letter that represents a quantity that varies. And last but not least, we've got a coefficient. A coefficient is a number that multiplies or divides a variable. Notice how I said multiplies or divide. You can see this 5 written next to this x. Whenever there's no sign in between two mathematical items, the implied operation is multiplication. So this is a multiplication problem right here. So there you have it, young people. A nice short video introducing us to the vocabulary that we're going to need to talk about algebra. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.